Creature Commandos, Episode 7, Season Finale. The episode is titled The Funniest Monster. And there was nothing funny about what I saw in this particular one, but I did enjoy it. And it's your boy Icon with another DC animated television review for you, going over that Creature Commandos. And before we get started, for everybody on YouTube, hit that notification bell, like and or subscribe. And let's get started with a little Creature Commandos action, because this is the season finale. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of Creature Commandos. So this was the Nina backstory, because in every episode so far, we've gone over a character backstory. They saved Nina's backstory for last, and this is the one that I was looking forward to the most, because again, she is like the most innocent and sweetest girl of all time. So I'm trying to figure out how she ended up on a Creature Commandos team and how she got captured by Amanda Waller. But it does start with the day that she was born. So it turns out that when Nina was born, she was born with a birth defect, and it was something where like her lungs were on the outside of her body and they were filling up with water. Her father was a very intelligent scientist, and he ended up coming up with a device to help her breathe despite having those defects. The mom, we're just going to say right out the gate, the mom is a flat out piece of shit, because the mom, she basically wanted to kill her child. Like when Nina was born with those birth defects, her mom actually wanted to put her down and take her off of life support. The father was like, no, he was like, we can save our child. So the father ended up saving the child. He ended up saving Nina, but as the child got older, the mother like resented her more and more, because she was like, oh, this isn't a life. And then, then she was like, oh, the baby doesn't even love me. And then the father was like, that's because you don't look at her, you don't touch her, you don't want to have anything to do with her. And then the two of them get into an argument, and then the mom goes, you know what, I think I'm going to stay at my mother's house for a few days, and the bitch never came back. So, so that was some sad ass shit. And it's disappointing, because I understand how a person would feel like if your child was born deformed, or if your child was born with some sort of defect, autism, whatever the case may be. I can understand it's natural for a human being to feel some kind of way, and to an extent feel a little bit negatively regarding that particular situation. But at the end of the day, like, it's still your child, and the fact that this woman basically walked out on her family and gave up on her family was very sad. So the father, God bless his soul, he ended up continuing his research on how to save her. So what he did was, because he specialized in animal genetics, what he ended up doing was he took DNA from different types of aquatic creatures, and he was going to use that DNA to splice it with Nina, so this way she can still be able to breathe despite having the issues with her lungs. Now, the stuff that he used kind of backfired, and instead it basically turned Nina into a half human, half fish, like hybrid. That's how she turned green, and that's how she got the gills and everything. So now, but she's fine. Like, she could still breathe. Only the problem now is she can only breathe underwater. So the dad ends up building the suit for her, the suit that we've seen all season. She has the fishbowl on her head. And here's where the father went wrong. Because up until then, he was the most like loving person. Like, he was there for his daughter. He tried to save his daughter's life. He gave his daughter a second chance at life. But then he makes the dumb mistake of, I don't want to say putting his child in school, because he decided that in order for her to have like social, like interactions with other human beings, he needs to put her in school so she can be around other people and be around other kids. I don't have a problem with that. The problem that I have with that is he did the dumbest, whitest shit of all time. He put his half amphibian daughter in a rich white school full of snobby, like entitled, stuck up, mean girl, mean guy, bitchy white kids. And I'm like, bro, you know better than that. And the reason why I'm specifically saying white kids, because then they show us a montage of her being in the school. She's getting picked on by the girls during like gym class. She's being picked on by the boys. They're calling her a fish monster. They're calling her a frog. They're calling her a freak. They're bullying her. Nobody who was bullying her was black, Spanish, Indian, Asian, or whatever. She was only being bullied by white kids. And I feel like James Gunn did that on purpose. So she gets to a point where she can't take it anymore, and then she writes a note to her father, and she tells her father, like, Dad, I gotta leave because this is some bullshit. She's like, I want to be free and I want to live a normal life. So she strips butt naked and she jumps in the ocean and she swims away. So, and then instead of her like swimming away, I'm like, for the love of God, like, Atlantis exists. Like, there are other places on the planet this girl could have swam to, because she looks like a half human, half fish. Out of all the places she could have gone, she ends up going to Star City. Why? And like, why are we in Star City? Why are you hiding in Star? That's not hiding. And then somebody sees her down by the river takes her picture, and now like the town is in an uproar because they're like, oh, there's a monster in our city, there's a monster in our city. The police show up, the government shows up, and everybody's like, oh, we're gonna capture the fish monster. Now because Nina's a very timid person, they ended up capturing her, and then the police were gonna take her away. The father saw this on television, and he ran down there to go save her because he knew she couldn't really breathe outside of water. So when the father gets there, he's fighting with the police. There's this white cop who's there, and he's like, sir, you can't go through. He tells him, he's like, no, that's my daughter, I gotta go over there. He pushes the cop away, and he goes to Nina. While he's talking to Nina, he's just like, Nina, he's like, you're not a burden to me. He was like, you're my love, you're my precious daughter, like I love you, whatever. The cop shoots him in the back for entirely no reason. I repeat again, he shot him in the back for no reason. And it was so bad. Him shooting the father was so unnecessary. His partner, because that cop had a female partner, when he shot the dad, his partner looked at him like, bro, what the hell was that? Like, what did you do that for? There was no reason to kill this man. And then after that, then they grab Nina, and then the dad is just laying dead on the floor, like nobody's saying anything. And then they take Nina, they throw her in the back of the squad car, and they drive off. I guess that's how she got with Amanda Waller. I guess Amanda Waller pulled her out of prison. One thing I am going to say about the Creature Commandos thing, I don't like the fact that although they talked about every single character's backstory, they never told us how each individual character got snatched up by Amanda Waller, with the exception of G.I. Robot. The radiation doctor referred to Weasel as the Wheeze, so that's a thing now. This is going to completely be a thing now. I love that shit now. He's the Wheeze. The bride referred to the radiation guy as the Ghost Rider, which was also hilarious. You got to appreciate the Marvel shade whenever you can kind of like sneak that in there. The Creature Commandos that are left, they're trying to kill the princess because the princess is supposed to be this demon that's going to take over the world. They get there. They sneak into the castle. They're in the castle's control room. They're looking at the surveillance camera so they can find out which part of the castle has the least amount of security. And then while they're doing that, they see the princess on camera talking to what they said, a strange monster. And then speaking of monsters, Frankenstein's monster ends up showing up. He ends up climbing the wall because remember, he was on his way to go get his bride. He climbs the wall. He sees his bride, and as soon as he said, he didn't even say that. He was like, my love, Rick Flag sent me. And then the bride just shoots him 15 times and like busts him right out the window. He falls on the floor. She shoots him in the head. And then she said, die, you stalkery piece of shit. And I'm like, he didn't even get a chance to say anything. So he gone. So Frankenstein's monster is officially gone now. And then, and then after that, the three of them proceed to go after the princess. They find the princess because she ended up going for her morning swim. And then that's when the bride got the idea to where she told Nina, she said, look, Nina, you're the only one who can kill the princess because the princess is she's in the pond. She's swimming in the lake. She said, you're a half fish person. You're the only person who can get in there and kill her without anybody knowing because you can sneak up on her while she's underwater. Obviously, Nina didn't want to do it because she's not that type of person. And then the bride was just like, no, she's like, no, you have to do it because you're the only one who can. And then she's like, we're all monsters. She's just human. Like, what's one less human in the world, when the monsters are going to take over? And then that's when Nina was like, but you didn't say, but you told me before I wasn't a monster. She was like, that's because I'm a cold-hearted bitch and I lie. Then she told her, she was like, but you're the fiercest of us all, Nina, and you can do it. So then now she gets Nina all riled up. Nina jumps into the lake. She ends up, trying to sneak up on the princess, and she's trying to talk herself now into killing the princess. Meanwhile, the Wheeze, he's off in the corner because in the first episode, he made friends with the princess. Like the princess played catch with him, played fetch with him. So the Weasel didn't want the princess to die. So the Weasel started like freaking out. He started having like a panic attack or whatever. They were trying to calm him down. And then it didn't work. And then the moment where Nina was about to stab the princess underwater, the Weasel came out of nowhere, jumped in the water, got the princess's attention. The princess saw Nina with the knife in her hand, and then she stopped Nina, and the two of them fought off. I have no problem with the princess fighting off Nina because obviously she doesn't want to die. But the part that lost me was when the princess got the knife out of Nina's hand. Her face immediately changed, and then she got like that devil look in her eye, and then she stabbed Nina like 7-8 times. And then she killed Nina, and I got really upset and almost walked off the couch. Because I like the Nina I don't like what Nina didn't have to die. Like Nina did not have to die. She could have stabbed her once and then swam away to safety. The princess did not have to kill Nina. Nina was my favorite creature commando character, and now she's dead. There's some bullshit right here. So Nina gone. The bride shows up, like she's upset. The troops show up. Everybody's at a standstill now. The weasel ended up attacking the radiation doctor and like bit his arm off. So now everybody's at a stalemate. And then the general of her, of the princess's guard, he shows up and he gives the bride a phone and says it's Amanda Waller. Because earlier Rick Flag woke up and told Amanda Waller that they were being played because Clayface was impersonating the doctor. So then Amanda Waller gets on the horn. She calls Romania or wherever the hell, Transylvania, whatever the hell they were. She calls the princess's guard. She gets the bride on the phone. She says, "Bride, we made a mistake. Don't kill the princess." But they're like, "Well, it's too late. Well, the princess isn't dead, but they already killed Nina, so that's some bullshit." So now everybody's upset. Like everybody's upset. They're mourning the loss of Nina. The bride doesn't know what to do, and then she just gets this idea. And then she gets up and then she goes and has a one-on-one conversation with the princess. So then the princess was just like, well, she was like, like you tried to kill me, but I understand. She's like, you were just a soldier. You were following orders. She's like, but I don't hold it against you for what you tried to do. She was like, you are just being a monster. And then that's when the bride was like, nah, bitch, I figured it out. The bride deduced. She said that Cersei was right and that the princess all along was the monster that everybody said she was. She knew that. They all knew that. But because the princess knew that Cersei was onto her, she ended up using Clayface because apparently Clayface and the princess were like besties. So she ended up seducing Rick Flag. And then when she got Rick Flag on her side, the doctor was supposed to go to Amanda Waller and tell her that the princess is crazy and the princess is going to try to kill everybody. Because the princess ended up telling Clayface to impersonate the doctor, when the Clayface doctor goes down to tell Amanda Waller, oh, the princess is crazy, we need to kill the princess, they're not going to believe her because they're going to think she's lying because it's Clayface and they can't trust Clayface. So she basically told them the truth and they believed it to be a lie. So she tricked them. And then after she tricked them, that's how they got Rick Flag out the deal. And then, that's how they got the doctor out of the deal. So it was like the whole thing was designed to take the scent off of the princess to make her look like the innocent party. But after we saw that look in her eye after she killed Nina, it turns out that, like the bride said, she said, we saw the tapes, bitch, with you talking to Clayface. So she said that you're the cold-hearted, narcissistic, grubby princess, that wants to destroy the world and everything. But then the bride said, she was like, I'm not going to kill you because you want to create World War III. She was like, I'm not going to kill you because you want to destroy the world. Because she's like, for all the world has done nothing for me. She said, I'm going to kill you because you murdered the only friend I've ever known. Talking about Nina. And then the princess tried to shoot the bride tried to shoot the princess, and the bride put two right between the princess's eyes and she killed her. So I'm like, damn, so we lost Frankenstein's monster, we done lost Nina, and it's like now we lost the princess. So this team is dwindling very, very quickly. And then after she killed the princess, nobody knew she killed the princess yet because they didn't go into the princess's chambers to find her dead. The bride saw the radiation doctor, she saw the wheeze, and then she was like, let's go before they discover the body. And then the three of them walked out. And that scene was funny because at the end of every single episode, they always show you in the coming attractions for the next episode, they show you a shot of the entire Creature Commandos team walking in a line. And every episode, that team got smaller and smaller and smaller because every episode we lost somebody. So now we only got 3 people left. So the final shot was just the bride, the weasel, and the radiation doctor, the 3 of them walking away. And this is before they discovered that the princess was dead. So now fast forward, we're back on good old American soil. They never said anything about, there was no report or anything that said, oh, the princess was found dead in her bedroom. Or like there was nothing about that. They never mentioned that. So we don't know what the backlash is, with the princess dying. But it takes us to where John is talking to the bride. And then John tells the bride, he was like, listen, Amanda Waller's aware of what you did and how you basically saved the world. So she's going to reward you. And then she was like, reward me with what? And then he was like, with your own team. So he takes her into a room and she now has her own she has a new Creature Commandos team that she's going to be in charge of. The radiation doctor is still on the team. The Wheeze is still on the team. They added King Shark to the team. They remade G.I. Robot. And I said that. I said they're going to rebuild G.I. Robot, but they're going to make him bigger and better. It's not going to be the same robot it was before. So he's back. And then also there's like a wombat lady, like some other people. So in season 2, there's going to be a new Creature Commando team led by the Bride. And in a final credit scene, it showed Frankenstein was talking to some old lady that nursed him back to health. That was pretty much it, with the Bride saying, I will lead this team because I have shit else to do. So that was it. That was how season 1 concluded of Creature Commandos. And for the love of God, thank you for tuning in. So I am going to say this. As fans, we need to stop over fantasizing this post-credit scene shit, because people were blowing up James Gunn's Twitter talking about like, oh, is there going to be a post-credit scene? Is there going to be a post-credit? Like, they bugged this man so much about a post-credit scene. He gave us a bullshit post-credit scene with Frankenstein's monster talking to some old lady, and I'm like, that shit was trash. It was unneeded. We didn't need that. So my whole thing when it comes to post-credit scenes are good as long as they set something up for the next project. To give us something that doesn't mean anything is a waste of time. And like I said, and I felt like he just did that so everybody would leave him alone. So can we just stop bothering this man when it comes to these post-credit scenes and just let him do what the hell he's going to do? The one thing that I don't want to say I wasn't correct about it, because this could still turn out to be a thing. But again, in Cersei's dream and her vision, they showed the princess taking over the world with a big-ass gorilla standing next to her, which leads me to believe this entire time she was being influenced or controlled by Gorilla Grodd. I feel like Gorilla Grodd's still going to be a thing, because they would not have shown a gorilla standing next to her for no reason. But for now, it just kind of looks like she was just like a power-hungry bitch that just wanted to take over the world. But I don't know how she became friends with Clayface. I don't know even why that was a thing with her and Clayface. But do not get me wrong. Trust me, this gorilla shit's still going to come up. Yeah, that's still going to be a thing at some point. That's it. But that was it, and I enjoyed it, because I was the person in the beginning who said, if you're going to do a creature, like if you're James Gunn and if you're going to build a universe, if you're going to start a DC universe completely from scratch, I was the person who said, if you're going to start from scratch, for the love of God, you don't start with Creature Commandos, because ain't nobody checking for that. And I'm happy to say that despite my negative reservations about it, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, and I'm super looking excited to see a season 2. I can't wait for it. They got renewed for season 2, so I can't wait for that. I mean, I would like to get more than 7 episodes. I feel like he jerked us on the 7-episode thing. We should have got more than 7 episodes, but overall, like I said, like Creature Commandos is the shit. I look forward to seeing how other things unfold in this new DC universe, because I believe now that we're off to a start with James Gunn, I believe the next project is Peacemaker season 2, and then in July we get the Superman movie. So that'll be the next one. Well, we do got Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn's coming up on the 16th, so I'm definitely going to review Harley Quinn as well for all you DC fans. But we're off to the races. Like, we're under the gun now. Like, we're in the gun universe. So let's get it popping. Let's get started, and let's see what everything has to do in the Gunn's mind, and what he has to bring us in 2025. So share your questions, comments, and or concerns down below. What did you think of Creature Commandos overall? Did you enjoy the series? Did you not enjoy the series? Who was your favorite character? To me, my favorite character was Nina, and now she dead. So I'm kind of mad at that. So like I said, but I'm looking forward to seeing like who else we can get along with in season 2. But share your questions, comments, and concerns. Let me know who your favorite character was, and let's continue to talk about it. Check me out all over social media. Check me out on X. Check me out on Instagram. Check me out on TikTok while it still exists. Always on YouTube, and even now on Clubhouse, where you can leave your questions, comments, and concerns. And we're going to keep rolling on for some more superhero goodness, some more action goodness, some anime, and everything in between right here on Red House Entertainment. So that was it, guys. So until next time when we start reviewing Harley Quinn season 5, goddamn, take care, look out for the creature under the sea, and we're out this bitch.